again, and welcome to yet another SAM USA 10-Minute Tuesday. I'm Joe Templin, the founder and CEO of the Intro Machine, and with me, as usual, is my partner in crime, Mickey Stroud.
Hello, Joe.
Mickey, I'm in a great mood today.
Yeah, I am too. It's been a great week, great couple of weeks, and looking forward to talking about today's topic because it's certainly one of my favorite subjects. Which is, of course, measurement equals motivation. It's been, I remember what was it called? The Hawthorne effect.
Yes.
Remember that one? Studied it a long time ago about a factory, wasn't it? That they were doing a certain amount of production, so many pieces per hour, and they thought they would increase, they wanted to see how they increase production. So they went around and they turned up the lights. And they found figured out that the actual production went up. I thought, oh, great ideas. Let's turn the lights up a little bit brighter. And they did it a second time and a third time. Each time production went up. But they thought they would just try to do the reverse and turn the lights down again, and went around again. And sure enough, production went up. And they figured out it had nothing to do with lights. It had to do with measurement.
Right. What it had to do was that the people who were working thought that they're changing something. They are keeping an eye on us. And so it's the observation, the attention that leads to increase. Measurement equals motivation. And there are so many studies around this. I'm recovering from an injury, and so I got a copy of this from the library, 4-Hour Body by Tim Ferriss, to review some stuff. And they talk about this in here. So if you want to start losing a lot of weight, you're 50, 75 pounds overweight, one of the things that they talk about is start measuring something. It could be the most outlandish thing, but you are measuring it. It could be a very poor variable. It could be the worst thing to measure, but just the habit of getting in and measuring one thing consistently will start producing motivation and results. And then you can become a little bit more complex. You can start tracking 2 variables. You can start tracking 3 variables. That leads to other things. I have my Fitbit. Every single day, I track my steps. I do 16,000 plus steps minimum every single day. I also check calories and miles and number of flights of stairs and all this because of being a little bit more advanced in my athletics. But people, when they first get the Fitbit, pay attention to it. And they're like, oh, I didn't realize how lazy I was. And so it creates a little bit of motivation. They get up to 7,000 steps, and then 9,000 steps, then 10,000 steps, and then it's 10,000 minimum. And then they start making the other changes because the measurement starts creating the motivation. And the best example that we have from that, my friend, of course, is right here, SAM USA. As a college intern, 1995, I started tracking and maintained those tracking. And so at first it was just number of dials, reaches, and appointments. Then I started looking at when I was calling during the day to actually get reaches. So I was able to drop the upfront activity from 60 dials down to 30 dials to get the same results out, which saved me 30 plus minutes. Then I started tweaking the language, going from reach to appointment. And that allowed me to, instead of making 30 dials, get down to 15 dials to get the same results. So that ended up freeing up 45 minutes per day. And if I didn't have the motivation from the measurement, I never would have been able to do that. And understanding what the numbers were and getting more and more into them over time as my knowledge and understanding got more advanced and my tracking of numbers got better, I was able to see where to tweak and how to tweak and how to improve so that my activities were higher quality so I could maintain the same quantity on the same amount of effort or even less. And that's how you grow from being a rookie to being a master over time and become truly successful. But if you don't know how many dials you're making, how many people you're talking to, how many appointments you're keeping, you're not going to be able to move that down that path. And so it's the first step that allows you to start measuring.
And it has to do with measurement, has to do with motivation, but also has to do with accountability. But you're not, how are you gonna know unless you keep score? And people can be, don't get me wrong, people were successful long before we came along and named the industry, because before us, it was all about time management. And we've educated people that you can't manage time, you only manage activities. But if you keep score of those activities and set goals and keep score, you can get better results. I remember when I was a successful insurance agent and built a big house and bought the nice cars and went to nice trips, and then my business fell off. I went back to my boss and asked him how I could get back on track, and he said, "You know how to do it. Just go do it." I thought, well, he's right. I won the trip to London and Paris and hell hiking in Canadian Rockies, and yeah, I'm a great salesman. Well, the reality was I wasn't a great salesman, but what I did do is I managed my activities well. And once I got back to my activities and keeping score of the, measuring my activities, how many sales and how many service calls I was doing every day, my business turned around. And the rest, as I say, is history. But truly, measurement yields motivation, measurement equals motivation, except for the Chicago Bears. Not quite so much, but need to have the drive, the motivation to get it done. But how do you know unless you keep score? You need to track some of those metrics, even if it's just one metric, number of referrals, and that's a referrals or introductions. I know you like to call it that with the introduction machine. What you do is incredible, because they can, or as one car salesman one time, we did track some metrics one time and realized his closing ratio was 60% with referrals and 30% or 20% with fresh ups. And he jumped up. It was a Filipino guy. He said, "You mean I only have to talk to 1/3 number of people and I can still sell the same number of cars?" Yes, that's why what you do is so important.
Right. And then it's like, okay, so now you know what you need to do. How do you do it? And we can put together coaching around that. We can put together language that is specific to the individual, but it's first understanding that light bulb that went off with that salesman, that introductions allow me to get the same results in a more efficient manner.
Right.
But understanding what those results are, if this individual just talked to people and had no clue of the relationship between talking to more individuals and putting more money in his pocket because of more sales, that disconnect is the big divide that we see, because a lot of people who are sales individuals within our space just go and do and don't bother to reflect a little bit. Every single professional sports team, what do? They record the games, they watch the tape afterwards, and then they give coaching around what they saw. They keep track of everything, whether it's number of pitches that somebody sees in an average plate appearance, whether it's the spin rate on the tennis ball. Everything possible is tracked so that they can dig down into it. So if somebody's going to be paid millions of dollars to be able to hit a baseball, you're probably not going to make millions of dollars in financial services, but you can make hundreds and hundreds of thousands pretty easily. And if you could increase your activity, the number of plate appearances, so that you get more hits, so that ultimately you make more money based on your ratios, I would do that. But if I didn't understand what those numbers were, I wouldn't be able to do it. So that measurement and understanding what it means gives more motivation. And this is the sort of thing where the Hawthorne effect, as you were talking about at the beginning, makes absolute perfect sense. Just paying attention will improve the bottom line result. And the more you pay attention and the finer your focus and your details are, the greater the impact that you can have on your bottom line, on your life. And it's 100% up to the rep and their management to basically teach the reps how important this is. And then it becomes internally focused and they can just go and they keep their numbers, as I still do 25 plus years later, not out of habit, because I know that it works, because that measurement creates motivation. And that is ultimately what gives us our freedom.
So that's why I'm going to leave everybody with task this time. So for the next week, for the next 30 days, track how many referrals you get. I mean, do you have any idea how many referrals you got last year, last week, or last month? Probably not. Just start that one metric Because what Joe does with the intro machine is critical. Just track how many referrals you're getting or introductions you're getting, and your business is going to prosper. Because remember, sales is an activity game, and getting referrals, getting introductions helps you win that game every day. And that, by the way, is our new company slogan: "Win the day." Thanks, everybody.
Great day, Mickey. Win it.